got that YouTube video, so you got that sound. Thank you for that, Chris. This is that time we need to talk about introducing our visitors and guests. And so we have a couple of guests here with us. We see our District Governor, Hank, in the back. Hank, wave to us. Welcome. We also have our meeting sponsor here today, the wonderful law firm of Gus Rosenfeld. And I think I'll let, maybe when Mark comes up to introduce, I'll probably have you introduce your team, although I know most of those hoodlums over there. The ones I don't know are not hoodlums. And then we do have some guests. Bruce Jacobs, our president-elect, brought Joe Ursig. I saw Joe somewhere. Joe, can you stand up and let's recognize you? Our money man, Glenn Ewing, brought Philip Drachman. Philip, where are you hiding? Hi, Philip. Welcome. Waukee brought Mark. Where's that fly fishing Mark? Hey, Mark, you see, pal. Chuck Sawyer brought Capri. Tim Blake. And he also brought Matthew Gutierrez. Welcome. So we're pretty lucky. We have a sponsor for this meeting today. It's kind of appropriate, I think, to have this sponsor today. The Gus Rosenfeld Law Firm is celebrating something with the Tucson Association of Realtors and also with Rotary today. 2021 is the Tucson Association of Realtors 100th anniversary. It's also ours, and it's also Gus Rosenfeld's. And back, I want to say last February, we all got together and just kind of brainstormed on what our various groups were going to be doing for our centennial, and that created an opportunity for us to invite Randy Rogers, our keynote here today, and he'll speak in a moment. But I want to ask Mark Collins if he'd please come up and introduce his team, and then tell us a little bit about why in the heck Gus Rosenfeld decided to sponsor this. And by the way, in case you guys care, they didn't only sponsor this meeting, they also are a car show sponsor, and they also bought $2,000 worth of car show tickets. So Mark Collins is also somebody I get a chance to work with more than he likes. He is our attorney at Rio Nuevo, and we're really lucky to have him.
Thank you. I got to move it down a little shorter than he is, and I don't have that head of hair either, so.
Looks great.
Well, as most of you know, Arizona became a state in 1912. And about 9 years after that, Gus Rosenfeld was formed in Phoenix. Gus Rosenfeld began as a municipal firm that represented a lot of municipalities. So we started doing work down in Tucson and ultimately opened up the Tucson office at about the same time that this building was constructed. We've had the opportunity to be involved in a great deal of activity down here in Tucson, and we're delighted to be working with the Rotary and the Tucson Association of Realtors. I'm joined today by my colleagues, all of whom are younger and better looking than I am. We've got Heather, Melissa, Pat Farrell, who many of you know, and believe me, he's a nice guy regardless of what you think. My partner, Mike Woodlock, Janine Coucher, who puts up with my partner, Jim Coucher, and we're just delighted to be part of all of this. So that's what I've got to say. You can't do the orders anymore.
No more orders. By the way, you didn't return my phone call from this morning on all those various documents I needed. Right after the meeting, right? Right after the meeting. So pretty cool. Mark, thank you. And I want to just thank the firm again. I had a chance to work with Gus Rosenfeld on a lot of different things. Mark Collins has been at the helm helping us with Rio Nuevo for, I don't know, 8-9 years or so. And he's just done a spectacular job for us. And when he gets in trouble, we get a chance to work with Michael and Pat and other people in the firm. So really tickled. And thank you for not just supporting what Rotary's about and not just supporting our wonderful speaker here today that's getting ready to celebrate his 100th anniversary, but also what we're trying to do with JTIS. So thank you guys for all the above. So our speaker today is Randy Rogers, and if you're not familiar with it, he is the CEO for the at a short little video introduction from him that is put together by our by our Rotarian member, Rick Rose, in Film Creations. And once again, our pal Matt Russell is back as the talking head.
Since 2017, Randy Rogers has been the CEO of the Tucson Association of Realtors and multiple listing service of Southern Arizona. The Tucson Association of Realtors represents the interests of more than 5,100 real estate professionals. In his role as CEO, Randy actually works with 3 boards of directors, those of the Tucson Association of Realtors, multiple listing service of Southern Arizona, and Tucson Realtors Charitable Foundation, with over 6,000 community partners. Randy brings over 25 years of strategic team building to his CEO role. Before coming to Tucson, he spent several years with the Indiana University Foundation, building teams to work across all aspects of fundraising, from annual giving to endowments and capital campaigns. Randy's next position was Associate Vice President for Development at DePauw University, a top-tier private liberal arts college where he organized an aggressive fundraising drive with the goal of raising $300 million. Randy fell in love with the Tucson region and brought his team-building approach to Southern Arizona. In cooperation with the Tucson Chamber of Commerce, Sun Corridor, Visit Tucson, DM50, the Southern Arizona Leadership Council, as well as other strategic partners, his leadership will help ensure the economic development of this great area. In Randy's own words, I'm all about local. People come to Tucson for a reason. They buy a place to live for a reason. We have over 5,000 members who help homeowners achieve their dreams. The changing dynamic of the real estate industry is exciting, and the way the members engage with clients is rapidly evolving. This creates an atmosphere that is perfect to blend proven practices with new ways of operating. Coincidentally, the Tucson Association of Realtors is also celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. So let's have a warm centennial welcome for Randy Rogers.
Thank you, everyone. I'm honored to be here today. It's whoever wrote that, they should come up here and speak. No, I'm honored. This is fantastic. When we got together February a year ago, right before the world sort of changed on us all, and I can remember sitting at the table thinking, well, are we supposed to like elbow bump or and all that's all in there. And I remember Mark also saying that he remembers the day that TAR, Tucson Association of Realtors, started back in 1921. So it was great that we had that history with him here. Congratulations to Rotary. Congratulations to Gus Rosenfeld. I mean, what an honor. 100 years. We see so many organizations in this day and age that businesses that don't stick around for 10, 20, 30 years, to be 100 is a pretty amazing feat for all of us. So it's great to be here. As was mentioned, there we go. We celebrated 100 years, and we were founded on April 27th of 1921. So what was happening back in 1921? We were created the same year that Babe Ruth, who was a pitcher, by the way, hit his 138th home run. Dream home cost $6,296. $6,000 for a dream home. A couple major songs: St. Louis Blues by the original Dixieland band. The Kid, Three Musketeers, The Chic. Those were some movies. The price of a pound of peanut butter in 1921 was 15 cents. The Bloody Mary was founded, so I think there's probably, this room probably made sure that stuck around for a few years. Locally, the Rialto was opened here in town. Tucson, the great booming metropolis of Tucson, had 20,000 people in it at the time. And interestingly enough, right next to Mark was one of our members that was born in May of 1921, Margaret Glover. And she just celebrated her 100th birthday, obviously, and had a great chance to to go see her, and it's so much fun. She still holds her license. I don't think she practices much, but she does. She's like, I still have my license. I have to pay. So really, really cute. I don't know if any of you know Margaret, but she's fantastic. So a little bit of history for us here, and of course we were founded as the Real Estate Board of Tucson back in 1921. We had advanced all the way to 1934. We had a whopping 14 members at that point in time. And back then, the membership had to vote on everybody. So, you know, if you were coming in, they had to vote that you were a part of it. 1961, and I know there's a big push on Rotary to get more women involved. 1961, we founded the Women's Council of Realtors. That's a national organization focused on women. We were able to do that and have that chapter here as well. 1984, we had the multiple listing service that came to be, and many of you probably remember when you bought homes getting a sheet from somebody. Well, there was a big book that used to be in place that you'd have to flip through and it'd get updated, and it was, I just can't even imagine. I'll talk a little bit later about the Hearth Foundation, but we founded I'll talk a little bit later about our charitable foundation, but we were actually the founders of the Hearth Foundation here in town. Many of you are probably familiar with that, and they continue to do some great work. We moved to our current location in 2006. They're at Tucson and Grant, which is now, by the way, we had the premonition in 2006 that that was going to be the hottest corner in all of Tucson. That's what it feels like right now. It is the growth that's happening in that area and what's happening with the buildings there. And in fact, we're redoing Keep Up with the Joneses in our particular area. 2009, Judy Lowe, many of you may know Judy Lowe. She was one of our past presidents, became the commissioner for the Arizona Department of Real Estate, still remains in that position today and comes back to speak with us quarterly. It's kind of nice to have her in town. And then, of course, on the 27th, we celebrated our birthday. On that day, we had a great press conference that day. Former Mayor Jonathan Rothschild was there representing the elected officials that we work with on a regular basis. Judy Lowe, Tucson Fire Department, SALC, and DM50 were represented. Many of those partners were up there. And we had one of our members make a very generous donation to the Primavera Foundation of $100,000 in honor of us for that day. And then following the press conference, and it was great. We had a big red fire truck and all that. We were still trying to figure it out. April 27th, we were still trying to think, how do we do this? So we kept the press conference light, but we did a drive-through event. So members had the opportunity to drive through in our parking lot, pick up a little goodie bag that we had put together of local businesses, or gifts from local businesses, and we had over 350 people drive by that day. So quite an exciting day for us. We were thrilled with the turnout. Pretty hard to believe, 100 years. Double click here, sorry. Okay, so who are we? It was mentioned earlier, we are the membership organization for the realtors in town. And I say that, the realtors in town, because there are 90,000 licensees in the state of Arizona, but there are 50,000 realtors. So you have to abide by a code of ethics. You have to get some continuing education in order to be a realtor. So really important that when you go to look to buy and sell your home, that you work with a realtor. We really encourage that. We are the largest trade association in southern Arizona. That gives us the opportunity to have some influence on a lot of the things that happen here in town. We also work on professional development and provide that for our membership. That's both continuing education, all the different things that are valuable to their career, but also just business development, local community. We're actually partnering with Visit Tucson now to allow our members to become Tucson ambassadors. So they have the opportunity, if they're out selling, they know a lot more about what's happening. And then the third leg of what we do is we call it the Home and Property Advocates. We work very closely with local elected officials to enhance the realtor's opportunity to buy and sell property. but also for realtors to be independent contractors and do business in the area. The other part of that is that we are actively engaged with our partners around town. Many of them you saw, but Rio Nuevo, the list goes on of those that we want to make the community better. I mean, we're all, I think, in that same mode in this room to make the community better, and we're at that same spot. What's good for the community is good for home buying and home selling. We can see an influx of that, of what's happening. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we work closely with the elected officials. I see Steve Christie here in town. He's been a great partner of ours over the time. So we also have a very robust group of affiliates that are a part of us. Yes, many of them want to do business with the realtors. There's no question about that. But they partner with the realtors to make the transactions go very well. That's banks, mortgage lenders, title companies, but it's pest control companies, attorneys, roofers, photographers. The list is long of those that we work closely with. And then we, as was mentioned earlier, the Tucson Realtors Charitable Foundation. We are a granting organization. We raise money from our members through events and activities, direct ask, to turn around and support local agencies within the community. We have given over $250,000 in grants, most of those at $1,000 to $1,500 level, so you can see how many different agencies we have supported over time. We also have an annual golf outing around Veterans Day that supports veterans organizations, and we've given another $100,000 away through that. So we've been pretty influential in our impact in the community. This fall we'll be kicking off with the National Association of Realtors, our parent company, if you will, the Good Neighbor Award. And so many of our realtors are actively engaged in the community. They buy and sell homes. They're not they're not all on HDTV. I know they all want to be, but they're not all on HDTV. But they're just like you. They volunteer for their local PTA, their local Rotary, whatever it is that they get involved in the town. We want to record those hours, if you will. So we're going to start the Good Neighbor Award, and we'll see just what kind of an impact really the realtors try to quantify that a little bit, because we know it's there, we know they're serving, we know that they're shopping, we know they're doing all those things, but let's put a little bit, let's be able to really celebrate that. We also talk, it was mentioned earlier too, that we run the MLS. So the Multiple Listing Service of Southern Arizona. We cover a broad swath from really about Casa Grande all the way down to the border, and stretching to both sides of the state. We are the source of truth. That's what I like to say, and the best way to describe the MLS is that, you know, as a realtor, that's the information that goes into the system, and everything comes out from that. We work closely with our partners. Obviously, the name you probably know the most, and I can guarantee you that, and I apologize if you saw over the last year the commercial that was out there, but about Zillow, or the realtors in Zillow, and Zillow's been a great partner of ours, but it was a commercial about how much people were looking at Zillow versus maybe some other things, some intimacy or whatever. That was kind of the gist of the commercial, or the video. It's a pretty funny one, that Zillow is really well known. They're a source, but it does come from the MLS. But they're a great partner of ours as we work through that. We're governed by a board of directors. The 6,500 members, we have 3 different boards. The Tucson Association of Realtors is led this year by Diane Marzoni. The MLS of Southern Arizona is led by David Dines. And Denise King leads our Tucson Realtors Charitable Foundation. So now, that's a little bit of who we are. What's the future? Darn good question. There is so much that has changed. How many in this room have tried to buy or sell a house within the last 18 months? So a couple of you were brave enough to try to do that. It is, I don't even know where to start. I brought some statistics because I think they're pretty phenomenal when you look at them. But we're at historically low inventory. Doesn't mean we're not selling houses. We're selling more houses than we've ever sold. Well, not ever, but we have in the most recent past. But our inventory is so low because they don't sit on the market for very long. So our new listings are actually up 15% over a year ago, and about 17% over 2019. So houses are there, but here's the kicker. Days on market, which is the way we typically judge a lot of those things, days on market is 12 days on the market. So if you have a house that is priced right, the realtor has worked closely with you to say, we've got this house here and it's priced right, it's going to go in no time at all. 12 days almost is not enough time to blink. Our inventory, and again, remember, we're selling more houses, but the houses that sit for were less than a month of inventory. A healthy market by most people would be 4 to 6 months of inventory, and we're down to 0.7 months of inventory. This is not something that just occurred. This is a 20-year problem that has, with inventory that's happened. I saw a statistic the other day by the National Association of Realtors that said in the last 20 years, we are 5.5 million units short of new builds from what we were in the previous 20 years. So you can imagine with the millennials coming in to buy, the way that the markets have changed, second homes, you name it, and we're 5.5 million units short on new builds. So pretty amazing to think about that. And that holds true nationally, but it certainly is holding true for what's happening here in southern Arizona. The median home price, this one may shock all of you, the median home price over last year is $342,000. That's up 31% from a year ago. So if you are a seller, it's a great time to sell. But what do you do if you're a buyer? Darn good question. We were just talking about some folks who got in their camper and drove around the country for a year. Well, if you are a buyer, or if you're a seller, you can gain on your investment. But where are you going to go? That's the real challenge for everybody out there. And it's not unusual that we see houses today that if you put them on the market, within the first 48 hours, if not even shorter, there will be 10, 20 offers on that home. Oftentimes those are over list price, sometimes by $10, $20, $30,000. Sometimes they are without concessions. So the day of saying, hey Mark, I really like your house, but that pink bathroom that you've had and that pink toilet that you really like, now it's got to go. No, it's not happening anymore. That is, the sellers will just go they'll go from that offer to the next offer. It is just an unbelievable and unprecedented time in what's happening in real estate. So if you're a buyer, I mentioned that houses will have multiple offers. It is not unusual as well for a buyer to make 10, 12 offers on different properties. And that is grueling. That's grueling, it's emotional, it's hard for those. So patience is one of the best things in the market right now. And if you want to sell and it's a great time to put your house on the market. It really is, it's super. You just got to have a plan for where you're going to go and what you're going to think about doing once that's done. I mentioned some other statistics here. Closed sales were up 12% over where we were a year ago. Median sales price, I talked about that. Average sales price in the Tucson area is $426,000. That's up 37% over a year ago. Inventory of homes, we're down to 900 homes on the market right now. That's just, again, unheard of statistics for the housing industry right now. So why is this cause? This is Brent. Brent is doing such an amazing job of selling Tucson to the world. Visit Tucson, and the partners there are doing such a great job of making Tucson a place to be and a place that people love. And it's many partners, not just Brent. He can carry it on his shoulders, but all of you have contributed to how great this place is to be. The home builders, the commercial, Sun Corridor, the chambers. I mean, it is just, you can't go a week without seeing Tucson in some national profile right now. And so it's causing everybody to want to come here. I remember doing a speech, this was shortly after I arrived, and if you'll remember the polar vortex that was going on at the time, and it was so gosh darn cold in the middle parts of the country. And I remember saying at that time, the polar vortex was our friend, because anybody that was sitting in Minneapolis did not want to be in Minneapolis at that point in time, because that just got to be long and grueling. So we were fortunate. It's all those little factors that have paid off, and Tucson is flourishing. I'm sure there are many of you who are like, gosh, I wish we just didn't have that many people here. I wish the roads were a little easier to traverse. I wish those sunbirds wouldn't stay here the whole time like they're starting to do now. But it's been really great for this community, and it's been really great for the economy, and certainly from the real estate perspective, it's been fantastic. So what's going to happen in the future? Mark, it's all yours. I don't think any of us know. Who knew that interest rates were going to drop? They just dropped a few days ago. Who would have imagined that we would be talking about interest rates that were 3%? My parents were talking, my mom's 92, she was talking about interest rates at one point in time of 18%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
3%? 2.7%? What the heck? Are you doing a 15-year? You can even get it less than that. So, I mean, it's unheard of. There is big, big money coming into real estate right now. It's technology. It is changing the business model of how real estate is done and what it will look like in the future. Brokerages are competing fiercely to make sure that their realtors, the people who are housed within their brokerage, are doing everything they can to be the best real estate agent that they can possibly be. You know, if you're familiar with Carvana, that car buying thing that looks like you could almost buy a car out of a vending machine. You know, there are a lot of brokerages who are trying to ease the pain points of the home buying process. And I say that because if you have bought a home, I don't care when, it's not an easy process. Your hand gets tired of signing all the forms. And so it is, you know, technology, this business has been ripe for technology, and we're fortunate that they are looking at it. I do think there are a lot of positives that will come out of it. There are some brokerages that are trying to be the one-stop shop. There are some brokerages that will buy your house sight unseen. They'll turn around and flip it and do something different with it. I mean, how many of you remember We Buy Ugly Houses? That's been around for a long time. It's an update on that concept. It's an update on that concept. And again, they're trying to take the pain point out of buying and selling real estate. And I think there's definitely a market for that. You know, Mark's $12 million home up in the foothills, you know, that will never be sold in a Carvana way. That's too exclusive. But yeah, he'll make an offer today for 6 for anybody that wants to do it. Millennials are changing the way we look at this. You know, we're at a point where millennials are now at their prime buying years. So we've got an influx of more people that are wanting to buy homes. Again, a worldwide pandemic, who knew? And that has changed the way people are looking at where they live. Do they live in a city? Do they live somewhere else for remote work? Can they live in a place like Tucson that has so many great amenities in their job is in San Francisco. And so we're drawing from those individuals, and it's been such a great place there. All the national economists, we've got one that works exclusively for the National Association of Realtors, Lawrence Yoon, and he's been around for a while and is in the Wall Street Journal often because this is such a hot topic. Real estate is such a hot topic. He doesn't see really much change in the next 2 years. The next 24 months are going to be about where we are today. Rates may tick up a little bit, but again, as I've reminded people, 2.7%, 3.4%, quiet, 3.4%. You keep buying a house for 30 years and 3.5%. That's crazy. So let them go up just a little bit. We'll see some balance. We'll see a little bit of balance to come. Here's what we don't know. World events, wars, resurgence of the pandemic, climate change, politics, elections, all of those things. We have no idea. That's the crystal ball that none of us know. And I think that's where everybody's in our industry is a little bit on edge because we don't know when the other shoe will drop. This is not sustainable. The actions that we're in today with real estate are not sustainable. To have less than 1 month's inventory, to have 31% growth in home values or sales prices, I mean, that's just, it's not a sustainable market. Somewhere it's going to drop. So I think that we're all kind of anticipating what that looks like, when that'll be. Again, I go back to if you're ready to sell, do it. There's a great Airstream dealer down the street, and that may be where you need to be for the next couple of years. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I put this up at the end of every presentation, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Work with a realtor. They adhere to a code of ethics. They are professionals. They will help you through this process. It's important that you think about that. And I always, and no offense to any dentist in the room, but I'm not going to Mark to work on my cavity. I want a professional who's going to do that. So same goes with when you buy or sell. The biggest purchase probably of your lifetime. Some of you may do it often, but it's important to work with a realtor. So I thank you for today's presentation. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully there's some information in there that was valuable. We do play a major role in Southern Arizona. We are a national organization made up of 1.5 million realtors across the country. There are about 1,300 of me out there, that associations around the country ranging in size. Arizona has 13 associations. We have one down in Green Valley that we partner with strongly. They're 280 members strong. And that's great because they're specific to that particular area. So really pleased with that. And in honor of Rotary's 100th year and the work that you all are doing, the Tucson Association of Realtors would like to make a $5,000 contribution to
We got together with Randy and with Mark, not to extract $5,000 out of each one of them, although we're not knocking $5,000. They'll go to Jake and they'll do other things, but what a cool thing to do. Thank you so much. So we have time for a couple of questions. If you've got a question, can I ask you to come up so that our viewers that are joining us virtually have a chance to see that? Do we want them up here, Chris? Are they just cool where they are?
I think they're cool where they are. Well, I got a question right here for Dan.
Hi there, thanks for coming in
Thank you.
5,000. So recently it's been reported that the private equity firms on Wall Street have bought up 25% of the houses in Houston, and their intention is to turn us into a renters nation. And do you have a comment about that, or an idea, like how can we get something like that stopped?
Yeah, so again, I mentioned big money is coming into this industry, and I don't think there's a way to get it to stop. Home ownership will still be the key. I think what we're seeing in a lot of the private equity investors is that they will pick up a portion of the properties. They're obviously out for a profit. So they're going to look at places like Houston or Austin or places that are overbuilt where they can come in and do a lot of that. We're seeing a little bit of it here, but not very much. Phoenix is seeing a little bit of it. I think we're in better shape than those overbuilt markets. And why are they doing it? Because it's that trickle down, right? The house price is more expensive. Rental prices are more expensive. So if you're renting a place, so you sell and you decide you don't want to ride in the Airstream for a year and you want to rent someplace, your rental properties are, or your monthly rent is much more expensive. So that's why they're doing it. I think, the things that I have read is that will continue, but it'll taper off a little bit. It's just right now it's so hot because of all the, and they'll turn around and sell some of them, so it'll balance back out in that market a little bit too. Great question.
Gary Hirsch has a quick question here.
So there seems to be a bunch of debate about whether the recent price escalation is a bubble or a trend. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Next question, please. You can't tell me that a $300,000 house that has been a $300,000 house for years is now automatically a $350,000 house. It's got to be a little bit of a bubble. I think pure speculation here, pure speculation and opinion. I think those folks that paid $50,000, $60,000 over list price for a house, so that $200,000 house that you bought for $260,000, you better hope to stay in it for a few years because you're not going to be able to turn around and sell that in the next 2 or 3 years. So I don't know that I would call it a bubble, but I would think that we're challenged a little bit to maintain those values along the way. That's going to be really difficult.
We can do one more question. Roger.
Yes, I was involved in buying a house in Manhattan Beach, California. Interesting. So my question is, are there efforts being made to reduce bidding wars from the buyers? In California, what happened, they set a date for all the bids to be in, and then the seller looked at those bids and picked the best one. Is that something that would be helpful here, or are you in favor, or do we want bidding wars?
I go back to the slide before of work with your realtor. Your realtor can help you go through that. I don't know that the state is under any initiative right now to try to limit that. And I think I can debate whether they want to get into those regulations or not, but I think that's where a realtor can come in because they would guide you and say, we're going to accept offers for the next 48 hours or whatever the number would be, and that way they would control that a little bit. So yeah, challenge Manhattan Beach. Good luck with that. Yeah. Wow.
Randy had said, I really like what you guys are doing, and maybe the Association of Realtors will find a way to help. We didn't ever discuss a number or an idea, but I know Randy well enough to know that he wants that money to benefit JTID. So we're going to put that money towards the car show. Jim Lubinsky will reach out to you to let you know for $5,000 what special tailor-made thing you'd like to do. But we'd love to have you involved in that. As you know, we have a book that we put in our Make Way for Books library. This one is A Party to Remember, and Randy's already signed that one for us, so thank you for that. Where's Kristen Wendler? Where'd Kristen go? Did she sneak out? So Kristen's back with us. Kristen, welcome. She walked up to me and gave me a check for $100 because she wasn't here for her birthday. Thank you. That is really cool. Mary Ann has cookies for you. I didn't order, but I'll take all the credit for them because I know you like the oatmeal cookies. Nobody, everybody's going to be wearing their pin. I want to do a quick shout out to George Larson. George gave us some free space to store stuff for the auction in the Centennial. To me, that's kind of a call to go fill it up. So let's start filling that puppy up. We got some birthday folks here, so we're going to hop in with Diana Cannon, who was born on the 13th of July. She's been a member since April of 15. Her classification is Community and Social Services. She's with the Humane Society, and she's from Western Michigan University. Come up and say, a couple of things. I asked her a couple of questions. You guys have heard these. What some people don't know about you, she used to be the event director, ready for this, Randy? For TAR Shootout Tournament for over 25 years, and she's still engaged. What's her favorite birthday dinner? Cheesecake. Why'd you join Rotary? John Lewis made her do it. 4, why do you stay? Great friendships. She loves the club's focus on education, and she has a strong belief in service above self. Why do you stay engaged, and what are your plans in the future? She's going to stay engaged, and she's going to continue to participate in all of our fundraising things. Come up, say hi, Diana.
Thank you, Mark. I will say right from the beginning that I hope I don't offend anybody, but I found this cute little verse, if you will, that was written by the Cat in the Hat. And it's the Cat in the Hat on aging. So I apologize, hopefully I don't offend anybody. I cannot see, I cannot pee. I cannot chew, I cannot screw. Oh my God, what can I do? My memory shrinks, my hearing stinks, no sense of smell, I look like hell. My mood is bad, can you tell? My body's drooping, have trouble pooping. The good years have come at last, the good years can kiss my ass. $100 for the ride to end polio, and I'm sponsoring, this goes towards my pal, Steve Pickering.
Oh, cool. That, I gotta tell you, was funny. I really like that. Okay, so we got another birthday boy, and it's our pal, Bruce Jacobs, who was born on the 19th of this month. He's been a member since 2009, and talk about somebody that just jumped in and got going. I don't even want to tell you all the stuff he's done. Classification, real estate, title insurance, retired. What is that? He's a U of A, University of Phoenix graduate, and he's also our president-elect. A couple things you didn't know about him. He graduated from high school at age 16 and college at age 20. Total overachiever. No wonder he retired early. Why did he join Rotary? Mike Schulte invited him as a guest, and he just felt it was a really good fit. Why do you stay? He loves the fact that we're welcoming and focused on service above self. And this is kind of bad. What are your plans to make it even better? I follow, quote, I follow number 100. Doesn't that say it all? What does that mean? Bruce.
Hey, Bruce. You know, when I got the dates from Dorena and Carrie, and I saw July 14th, and I was like, okay, I've got to pick that date, because today's my mom's birthday. She would have been 99 years old today. She was lived to be 93 young, and so anyway, happy birthday, Mom. But yes, I want to thank Mike Schulte, both my mentor as well as my sponsor, in letting me in here. But to actually legitimately answer Mark's question, what am I going to do to make the club better is not only continue to be engaged myself, but to ask members to be engaged, because to quote President Jen, we're not a lunch club, we're a service club. And you know, I mean, for those of you that have been in Rotary for a long time, well tenured, and maybe you're a little less engaged than you used to be, is I'm going to challenge you to maybe get a little bit more engaged than you had in the past. And for newer members, I mean, really engagement is what it's all about, whether it has to do with the car show or Salvation bell ringing or Triangle Y Camp or any of those things. Is that's where you, not only are you doing great things for the community, but you're getting to know your fellow Rotarians. So I'd encourage you to get more engaged. I've got 2 checks. One goes to the Ride to End Polio for Centennial President Jim Levinsky, and the other is going to the club for Mark's Fishing Fund, whatever in the hell that is.
The Fishing Fund is a way to get your picture up on the big screen. So we've got a couple of Paul Harris Fellowship introductions. Scott and Shar, are you going to come up and do that?
There's Stan. You too. Go ahead.
Hey, why don't you guys come on over here? Okay. Scott, he's going to talk about you. And I'll pitch you. This good? Okay.
Am I in it?
No,
So,
not if I can help it.
Paul Harris once said, perhaps dreaming is not so bad if one dreams of good dreams and makes them come true. In Rotary, we make dreams a reality through extraordinary projects and activities here at home and around the world. These projects would not be possible without the generous support of Rotarians and friends of the Rotary International Foundation. And today, we're recognizing our newest Paul Harris Fellow members. Two darn good ones, I might add. Sarah Gar Ahrens is receiving her Paul Harris Fellow +1. I just learned that +1 doesn't mean one. +1, Sarah's cumulative generosity to RI exceeds $2,000, not $1,000. That's the +1 thing. Sarah attended Abraham Lincoln High School in her native San Francisco, which recently was newsworthy, you know what I mean. Because Lincoln was one of the schools targeted for a name change by the San Francisco School District. Well, that did not happen, so it still says Lincoln High School on her diploma. And later, she earned her master's in deaf education from San Francisco State University. She did live her first 25 years in San Fran, and then began to look for new adventures. So on the move to earn her doctorate at Boston University in applied psycholinguistics. So many opportunities. She attended the University of Guadalajara in her 20s, deepening her love for Mexico. And in Lisbon, Portugal, she taught teachers how to promote communications with deaf-blind children. She also taught at the University of Colorado in Boulder. But you know Sarah comes to us from Anchorage, where she lived for the past 28 years. There she directed the state deaf-blind program, traveling through the state, often to remote villages to work with Native families and educational teams. One more thing, she met Bruce Ahrens in Alaska. They've been married for 20 years now, and they started a variety of businesses together, including Alaska Wandering Moose Bed and Breakfast for 10 years. They also own rental properties in Anchorage, worked together to manage the Ahrens Equipment Company, and together they've enjoyed Alaskan life, fishing and salmon in dark, cold winters, and also having bears and mooses routinely wander through their yard. So welcome to Tucson, Sarah, where you've been snowbirds for more than a decade. You are officially retired now, although Bruce still runs Ahrens Equipment and often travels to Alaska. It's really great to know that you're both expecting to be full-time here in the old Pueblo pretty soon. Sarah supports, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I cued that, didn't I? Sarah supports Rotary International because she appreciates how much is needed in developing countries and how much can be accomplished with the collective expertise and dedication of Rotarians. Congratulations now, Sarah, and thank you for your continued support of RI programs. Rocky, Red Star, Wurlitz, Waukee.
Not wrong.
The rest of her name is so hard. She's receiving her Paul Harris Fellow +1. Born in Indonesia to parents of Chinese heritage, Waukee graduated from college with a Bachelor of Arts and immigrated to the U.S. when she was 22. And then she married, had 3 children, and settled in Los Angeles, in that area. She earned a liberal arts degree and worked for the San Bernardino Water Department. Of course, she was also a reading mentor in the literacy program for underprivileged kids in San Bernardino. In 1994, Waukee moved to Tucson and later divorced. As a single parent, she still forged careers in land planning, land development, real estate, and also earned her associate degree in architectural drafting at Pima College. Presently, Waukee is a broker owner of WVR Realty and principal and planner of WVR Consulting. The V in WVR is her middle initial. I wish I had time to tell you her middle name. She met a guy. She has 5 syllables. She met a guy at an open house that she was holding. His name was Mark, and he did not make an offer on the house. And 2 years later, they were married. And Mark is a former Rotarian in the Casa Adobes Club. Welcome, Mark. And Waukee is also a breast cancer survivor. She's been almost 2 years in remission. That's the way she feels about it. She says, praise the Lord, pretty often about this. She is not new to community service in Southern Arizona, has served as Southern Section Director of the Arizona Planning Association, board member of Junior Achievement, Tucson Children's Museum, Tucson Voice Chorus, New Beginning for Women and Children, and the Tucson Chinese Association. She's currently a member of the Saba Advisory Council and a member of the Metropolitan Pima Alliance and a proud and happy Rotarian. So, Rocky supports RI. She supports Rotary International because she believes in its mission to make the world a better place by service above self in fighting diseases like polio and malaria, and in supporting children's education and the family's welfare. And the best part of being a Rotarian, she says, is friendship and the camaraderie between us members and her. So, congratulations, Waki, for your continued support. But wait, for each of you, we've engaged our actual president to provide you some sweets for the sweetest. Famous Doubletree chocolate cookies for each of you to take home and hide from your husbands.
I did not bake these myself.
Rotarians, let's show our appreciation for Sarah and Rocky.
Okay, Charlotte's going to come up and give a brief little history lesson for us. We're going to talk about well, she's going to tell you what it is, but while she's coming up, since I know what her topic is, do you guys know why, no, I'm not going to tell you. You know the difference, why everybody wants the difference between real estate and insurance? Who knows the difference? Insurance and real estate, what's the difference? Everybody wants to talk about real estate. Charlotte.
Today we share a few real estate projects our Rotary Club was involved with spanning our 100 years. From the earliest day, our club has been involved in Boy Scouting. In 1921, 4 founding members of our club were part of the committee that oversaw our first civic activity by identifying the location and establishing a Boy Scout camp on Mount Lemmon. The camp was named after one of those founding members, James M. Lawton, and Camp Lawton is also celebrating their centennial this year too. In 1955, our club established a youth committee, and following fall, ground was broken for a new Rotary Scout building across from El Real School, an underprivileged neighborhood area. As pictured on the screen is the Scout troop in the building with their Scoutmaster, who served in that capacity for 17 years and was a member of our club. Rotarians helped with construction of the building also. With both of these buildings, throughout the years, Rotary members have made repairs, done landscaping, provided maintenance such as plumbing, painting, and construction of shelves. Our major project for Rotary International's 50th anniversary was providing furnishings for the El Rio building. The building was also made available to other youth groups to help eliminate juvenile delinquency, which was a problem in the area. And there's some of our guys working. Another exciting real estate connection was when fellow Rotarian Mike Anderson led the charge in the late 1990s for our first really aggressive fundraising effort, $10 Wins a Dream House, where the winner won a brand new home valued at $150,000 that was built by Rotarians. The property was located in central Tucson and already had a small home on it that became the guest house. Pictured on there is some of our men working on the yard. The effort was a big success and netted over $253,000, and more to come on this teaser in 2 weeks when we focus on the history moment and Mike and the Dream House project. Just an added note to say thank you to all the Rotarians who made these special projects happen.
Charlotte, thank you. So you guys let me know about the fly fishing fund. You know about that. You guys see Alan Rogers' picture? Check out that fish. Check out that fish. So I'm in real estate and everything's negotiable, and so is the fly fishing fund. It's all going to be money that we're going to use internationally and here locally to do some fun stuff. And Alan didn't even know what his fine is yet for that wonderful picture. That was caught on the Green River in Utah. That's a damn nice looking fish. Thanks for sharing that. I'll send you your bill later. But that's pretty cool. Keep those photos coming. Okay, so I'm supposed to remind everybody that is a part of the Rotary Club. Foundation. You've got a meeting right after this. In closing, I want to thank all of our virtual guests for tuning in today. Thank you. If you'd like to donate to our scholarship cups, there's something in the very back of the room for that. Doreena's pointing at me. Oh, I got the raffle. Oh my God, I'm in such trouble. I have completely dished my buddy Chris, and Chris has, is it like $1,200?
Yeah, $1,240.
Oh my God, I'm going to sit down for just a second. And
Just be quick. I just have to give away some money, Mark.
I'm sorry.
King of clubs, right? It's in the deck. Somebody asked me, like, well, maybe it's not in the deck. It really is. So I'm going to shuffle it. Hold on. And Ann's going to pick out the winner while I do. Let's shuffle it.
You know how to shuffle?
Not really. Bob Logan over there has been like, remember, I'm your sponsor. 680212.
This game sucks.
Do we have a winner? We have a winner! Look at that! Here's $40 for you, Philip. Look at that. Wait a second. You have one last thing. If you pull the king of clubs, you get the $1,240. It's in there somewhere. So close. I'll remove that card now. All right. Now you can go on, Mark, with whatever you wanted to do.
So, that's what the problem when you have notes and you've got them all like highlighted, you know where you are, and then you kind of lose your place and you get in trouble. Okay, so we're closing up now. Don't forget, I said the Rotary Foundation meeting right after this. They've got you covered with that. I want to thank everybody for joining us, especially if you're virtual. If you want to join into the scholarship cups, they're in the back of the room. Do not forget to turn in your badges and put them back in their pocket. Thank you. Diana, Bruce, happy birthday. Sarah and Walkie. We used to find people for doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it with that, won't we? But sit down. Sarah and Walkie, thanks for your Paul Harris Fellows. Randy, that was excellent. Thank you for the presentation. You amazed me with your generosity with the foundation. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank our friends at Gus Rosenfeld. You guys are great. Congratulations on your 100th as well. So next week we've got Colonel Joseph Turnham that's going to be the 355th Fighter Wing, or Wing Commander, Base Commander at DM. We're going to be up at Hacienda del Sol next week, so don't forget, we will not be here. We'll be back here after that, but next week we will be at Hacienda del Sol. The week after that, just a reminder, that's when Adia Barnes is here, and that's also when we've designated to be Women's Day. So, invite your favorite woman if you might. So, quick little toast and adjourn. So, Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, managed with reasonable care, it's about the safest investment you can make in the world." So, here's to the Tucson Association of Realtors and the amazing impact they've had in our community for the last 100 years. For firms like Gus Rosenfeld that have helped us make smart legal decisions, we're honored to share this moment with both of you. We are adjourned. Hear, hear.
Ding.